So in this session, we are going to discuss about capacitive accelerometers. Capacitive accelerometers rely on electrical capacitance in response to the acceleration. And they are similar to piezoelectric, but instead of measuring a change in resistance in the case of piezoelectric, in the capacitive accelerometers, we will measure the change in capacitance. They are also known as vibration sensors, and they rely on change in electrical capacitance as a response of acceleration or the body vibration. These accelerometers utilize the properties of a opposite plate capacitor, in which the distance between the two plates of the capacitor will vary in proportional to the input acceleration or vibration, and in proportional to that the capacitance of the capacitor will get varied. Okay, that is, the variation in capacitance will be proportional to the vibration or the input acceleration, and this variable is used in a circuit to ultimately deliver a voltage signal, and that is, the variation in capacitance will be obtained as an output as a voltage signal. That is, the voltage output will be proportional to the variation in capacitance, which in turn is proportional to the variation in acceleration. Therefore, we can say the voltage output is proportional to the acceleration or the vibration. Okay. Capacitive accelerometers are capable of measuring constant as well as slow transient and periodic acceleration. There are two types of capacitive acceleration: AC capacitive acceleration and DC capacitive acceleration. Okay. AC capacitive acceleration sensors fundamentally consist of two components. That is, primary is a stationary plate which is connected to the housing of the capacitor accelerometer, and the secondary plate is attached to the inertial mass, that is the measuring mass or seismic mass, which is free to move inside the housing. Okay, it will be clear when you see this figure. This is the body and this is the inertial mass. So these plate will form a capacitor. Both this primary plate and secondary plate will form a capacitor, and the value of that capacitor is the function of a distance between the two plates. Okay, the sensing material is either a flat plate of nickel or electronic chip supported above the substrate surface by two torsional bars. The capacitive accelerometer will rarely exceed the maximum displacement of 20 micrometer, that is the distance between two plates. Therefore, such a small displacement will require a reliable measurement of drift and various interferences. That is, a small vibration like measurement can only be done with this capacitive accelerometer. Now, when this type of accelerometers are subjected to constant acceleration, that is not varying acceleration, a constant acceleration, then in that case the capacitive value will be also constant, and thereby the output measurement signal will be proportional to this input constant acceleration. Then that type of acceleration is known as DC or static acceleration. As I have told, there are two types of acceleration, AC as well as DC or static acceleration. And DC or static acceleration is when the acceleration input or the vibration input is a constant one, and as a result the output will be a uniform signal. Okay. So these are the two types of accelerometers, capacitive accelerometers. Now the advantage of this type of accelerometer are they are able to acquire measurement over wide frequency range, and they have high stability, sensitivity and also resolution when we compare this type of accelerometers with that of piezoelectric accelerometers. And disadvantages: they are susceptible to temperature, humidity variations, and they are relatively fragile comparing to piezoelectric accelerometers. That is, these temperature and humidity variations are what type of inputs? They are spurious input. Okay, so this type of accelerometers are prone to the spurious input more than that of piezoelectric accelerometers. Okay. So this is the figure of capacitive accelerometer. This is the seismic mass. This is the fixed electrode, primary electrode, and this is the flexible mounted electrode, moving electrode. This is spring, and this is mounted anchor, and this is the substrate or the housing. Okay, so the equivalent circuit of this capacitive accelerometer is given here. You can see two plates, this one and this one, and this is the D, which is variable. Distance between the plate is variable here. Okay, so this is it. So this is a capacitive accelerometer. Now let us move on to null balance or servo type accelerometer. Null balance instrument, the acceleration sensitive mass or the mass, measuring mass, is kept very close to the zero displacement position. Okay, there will be a position where there is no displacement, that is null displacement or null balance position. So these accelerometers are also known as servo accelerometers, and they will use the principle of feedback. Okay, and these accelerometers are developed for such application that require greater accuracy, and also these are achieved with using mechanical springs and force to displacement transducers and all. Okay, so in this type of accelerometers, as I have told, the sensitive mass, acceleration sensitive mass, is kept very close to the zero displacement or null position, and by sensing this displacement, it will generate a magnetic force which is proportional to the displacement, that is from the displacement from the zero displacement position or displacement from the null position will be always oppose the motion of the mass from the neutral. Okay, that is, the mass is kept very near to the null position, and whenever displacement occurs from this position, there will and force will act which will oppose that particular motion and will try to bring that mass back to the neutral position. Okay, this restoring force will play the same role as the mechanical spring force in the conventional accelerometer. Thus, we may consider the mechanical spring to have been replaced by an electrical spring here. In the previous capacitive and piezoelectric accelerometers, I have told there is a restoring forces provided by mechanical spring. So in this case, we are replacing it with a null position sensing device. Okay, that is, our reading will be obtained in the null position, null balance case. So the restoring force provided by the spring in that case, previous case, is replaced here by an electrical restoring force, electrical spring. The various advantages which we derive from this approach are greater linearity and lack of hysteresis of this electrical spring as compared with the mechanical one, and also in some cases electrical damping which will be made less temperature sensitive than the mechanical damping can also be employed here. Okay, and there is also the possibility of testing this performance of this device, both the static and dynamic performance, before we do a test run of this material by introducing some electrical external forces into the system. So these type of accelerometers have a self checking feature which are more accurate, and as a result, if you are performing the final testing of these accelerometers after the self checking is done, then the final expensive test will be more accurate in these type of devices. And also these are mainly used, these servo accelerometers are mainly used in motion measurements and low frequency vibration measurements and all. And this can also be used for wherein acceleration control systems are employed, and also this type of measurement can be employed where more accurate value needed to be measured. And as I have told, there are some other advantages, that is electrical damping is more convenient than the mechanical damping, because electrical damping in electrical damping the spurious input are much reduced than in case of mechanical damping, and also the tensions or frictions due to mechanical springs is also avoided here, because here the restoring force is provided by some electrical means. Okay, that is null deflection. So this is the figure of the servo type accelerometer. This is the simplest fashion of the device, and this is designed to measure translational acceleration. Okay, and angular acceleration can also be measured by this technique itself, but in that case an obvious mechanical modification need to be done. Okay, so here you can see the acceleration xi of the instrument will cause an inertia force Fi on the sensitive mass m, and this will tend to make it pivot on its bearings and and the rotation theta from the neutral is sensed by the inductive pickup, and it is amplified and then demodulated and then filtered to produce a proportional current Ia, and it is directly proportional to the motion from the null position. This current Ia is proportional to the movement from the null position. Initially it will be in null position, and the movement is we need to measure, which is proportional to the current output, and this current output is passed through a precision stable resistor. And the output you can see a resistor, you can see, and it is R, and this current output is passed through the precision resistor to produce the output voltage signal E0, and it is applied to a coil suspended in the magnetic field. So this current flow through the coil, and as a result it will produce a magnetic torque on the coil, and this torque will cause the mass to return back to the neutral position. That is, it is a restoring torque. Okay, as I have told, here is a feedback mechanism. So this is the feedback mechanism. The current produced, output current, is again passed to the coil through this path, you can see, through this path, and the coil will get excited and a torque will be produced, and this torque will cause the mass to come back to the neutral position. Neutral position means come back to the null position. Okay, and this current, which is required to produce a coil magnetic torque that just balance the inertia torque due to xi, is directly proportional, when it is directly proportional to this xi also. Okay, so we can say the output E0 is a measure of the acceleration xi. Okay, so in this case a non-zero displacement theta is necessary to produce a current Ia. Theta is the angle by which the mass is moved from null position. Okay, so it is necessary to produce the current Ia, and the mass is not returned exactly to null position when a restoring force is produced, but it will come back to almost close to the null deflection position, because in this case we need to use a high amplifier demodulator filter. Depending upon the accuracy of that section, it is decided whether the mass will come exactly to the null position or not. Okay, so that is the working of the servo accelerometer. So in next class let us discuss about force and torque measurement. Thank you.